Tuned into Recovery TV, the voice of hope, with your host, John J. Tassoni Jr. Discussions and information on addiction and mental health issues. Now, here's John and today's guest.
Welcome to another edition of Recovery TV, and I'm your host, John Tassoni. Narcan. Please pick it up, put it in your purse, put it in your car, carry it around, but you got to take it in at night because the weather affects it. We need it. It saves lives. My guest today is EMS Chief Zach Kenyon from the Providence Fire Department, and Zach is the head of Safe Stations in Rhode Island. So thank you, Zach. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
You know, it's come to fruition that a lot more departments now are seeing the light, per se, and putting safe stations in place. So tell my viewers a little bit about safe stations and what they should be aware of and what they shouldn't be afraid of.
Okay. Well, thank you for having me. Safe Station started originally in New Hampshire. We brought it to Providence in 2018. And really, we're just trying to give people access 24/7 to recovery. A lot of times people don't know where to go. When they decide that they want to make a change in their life, they don't know who to call or what to do. So at any point, 24/7, if you know you want to make a change in your life, you get to any Providence fire station, you ring the doorbell, and in under 15 minutes, we will bring peer recovery specialists to you. Those are people with shared experience who have been through problems with substance that now are on the other side and trying to help people struggling. And they're really the important part. But they show up and they help guide you into your recovery. And they're very important because they've been there. So they know better than I do how to help you in what you're going through and what your struggles are. The men and women of the Providence Fire Department are awesome. They do a great job of taking people in, and really all we do is check your vital signs, make sure there's no major trauma or other things going on in your life where you really have to go directly to a hospital. That's only happened twice so far since 2018. So we've been pretty successful on avoiding that. And our goal is to get people help. You don't have to be from Providence. You don't have to be from Rhode Island. We don't care if you have insurance or not. We don't care what substances you're using. Originally, we started for the opioid problem, which obviously is still a huge problem here in the state, but we will handle any substance problem that you have. Just ring the doorbell. That's our key, and we want to help you in any way we can. And if you've been before and it didn't work, that's okay. Ring the doorbell again. It doesn't always work the first time you walk in the door. We understand that. People in recovery understand that. So don't hesitate to come back. And if you're a family member that has a loved one that can't get to the station, you can drive them to the station. If they're willing to come see us, you get them there any way possible, and we'll get them help.
What about, Zach? I ring the doorbell, but I have a pocket full of opioids.
Yep.
If I empty my pockets, are you going to call the police and scoop me?
Nope, so no police presence at all. We actually have a way for you to dispose of those safely, so actually we don't touch them. We ask that you put them in a certain safe location that we have, and about once a week we empty those out, and we dispose of that stuff with the police, but there is no police contact. Our goal again is to get you help. And we really haven't had too many substances showing up at the station either. Very little, surprisingly. But again, we want to help people. And as you said, Safe Stations has expanded throughout the state. The wonderful t-shirt you have on now has a logo there in the corner. If you see that logo anywhere in the southeastern New England region, it means they're willing to help. So I know that it's in Woonsocket, Pawtucket, Smithfield, East Providence, Fall River, Massachusetts, and I believe Bristol Police and Tiverton Police are doing something of their own design, so you'll see a police car in the building instead of a fire truck. But we're all here trying to help people survive, and that's really the key.
What kind of feedback are you getting from the other communities, Zach? Are you getting good feedback, you know, that they're seeing one, maybe 2 or 3 a week? Where's this going?
Well, so part of the problem for us as a whole is that we're not getting as many people as we want to get. Unfortunately, there's a lot of Rhode Islanders that are still passing away from overdose. And it's truly still an epidemic. It's a problem. I don't know if there's still stigma involved that people don't want to talk about it. I myself had a family member that passed away from an overdose, a very close family member. I don't have a ton of family, so you lose one, it feels like you've lost a million. people need to know that. People need to know that this is all walks of life. It's not, embarrassing for families. You need to get out there and talk about it so people do understand people should be getting help. But we lost close to 500 people since after COVID, the year after COVID. Our numbers were down and we've gone back up. We're starting to regress a little bit, but there's still more work to be done throughout the state. So I don't have a ton of communication with the other communities. We all do it a little different. And I encourage communities that aren't doing it to reach out, give me a call. I'll help you get something started. West Warwick, for example, does a lot of Narcan kits in their stations. So they're not technically doing the safe stations the way we do it, but they'll provide Narcan for anybody that needs it. And so there's a lot of help out there. We just got to get more people knowing that the help is available.
Yeah, some of the folks that I've spoken to when it first started, obviously, Safe Station was a little bit timid, to get through that door and ring that doorbell. It seems to be getting better as we progress as far as getting the word out that this is something that's available, that there will be no police presence, as you said, there will be no anything. Just want to get into recovery, want to get your help. The peers are a big deal. They're a big deal today because, as you said, they have lived experience. They can talk to a John and say, John, if you do this, you may be able to do that. If you do this, you can do that. So it's all changed. It'll continue to evolve and change as we get more and more presence in all these communities.
Yeah, and so it has changed. It doesn't seem, and because you're well into this community and the problem that we have is it doesn't seem to be changing fast enough, right? And so there's still a lot of good people that are dying. And so that's really where I try to just get out as much as possible. I know you see me all over the place trying to promote what we're doing and what the other communities are joining on and doing. We've helped communities as far away as Minneapolis get a safe station going. Cincinnati have got something going through their health network rather than their fire stations. But we help anybody that wants to get this going. If this doesn't work for your community, that's okay. But let's find something else that might work. We do a lot of other good things in Providence also. Narcan, as you mentioned, we do a lot of Narcan leave behind. We have EMS bikes that are downtown in Kennedy Plaza and down through a lot of the central downtown area where we have a lot of people in need. They carry Narcan leave behind kits, fentanyl test strip kits with them all the time. So if you see anybody on a bike that says Providence Fire and you need Narcan, just wave them down. All my engines and ladders in Providence have Narcan leave behind kits. We have a separate mental health unit that has a clinician from the Providence Center with one of my EMTs in an SUV. They're out reaching out to the homeless camps, but also going to people that are struggling with substance use or mental health crisis. They have Narcan. So we're trying to get people as much out there as possible to keep people alive and then let them take advantage of a program like Safe Station and get in touch with the peer counselors to really, move on.
Yeah. And we're going to take a quick break. I want to talk more about that when we come back. You're watching Recovery TV, and I'm your host, John Tassoni. Providence Safe Stations. Chief is here. We'll be right back after these messages.
Now, back to Recovery TV with your host, John J. Tassoni Jr. Recovery TV is made possible by our supporting sponsors and our title sponsor, AdCare. Now, here's John and today's guest.
Welcome back to Recovery TV, and I'm your host, John Tassoni. In the studio today is EMS Chief Zach Kenyon of the Providence Fire Department. We're talking about safe stations here in Rhode Island, and you see my T-shirt that Zach was so nice to give me today, out promoting safe stations. The more and more individuals we can get help for, the better off we'll be. And I know, Chief, we're talking a little bit about the overdose issues in Providence. The numbers are still staggering.
Yeah, we still respond to around 1,000 overdose calls a year. And with the amount of Narcan that's out in the community, we don't know how many we're not responding to, that people are reversing their friends, or loved ones from overdoses. But that's still a lot. And as we talked a little bit, substances are changing. Things are getting scarier and worse every day. There's other things introduced into different substances. So people might be buying one thing that they think they know what it is, and it's not.
Yeah,
You know, the days of people doing recreational drugs, as they would think, going to nightclubs and other things, should be long gone, because people are dying that way too. You know, they think, oh well, you know, I don't have an issue, I don't have a problem, I'm just, you know, doing this on a Saturday night to have some fun, but you know, those people are dying too, because they don't know what they're getting a hold of.
Yeah.
And so it's a scary world.
I was watching something, actually it was this morning, it was a rerun of IGT, and the kid and his mom were singing, and he had a bar, got some bad stuff, he ended up in a coma for 30 some odd days. You know, they didn't think he was going to make it, but you know, this is the stuff that we're dealing with. This is almost the life-changing adventures now. You know, we talked a little bit that you have 3 girls. What's your biggest worry as a firefighter now, what's going on with all these substances that are on the street? Take away the 3 girls, but what's your biggest worry as a firefighter?
Yeah, I think the biggest fact is that there's so many different ways that fentanyl's out there, whether it's pressed pills that look really, really legit, or whether it's in powdered cocaine or crack cocaine. It's in so many substances that people aren't thinking about. And so, as I just said, the days of the person that thinks they're doing something recreational is that person's ending up dead. And that's really scary. Not to mention there's new stuff coming along. You know, most of this stuff is synthetically made now.
Right.
We're lucky because Narcan works on the opioids, but it doesn't work on a lot of the other stuff that's coming along now. So we'll be at a point where we can show up as a firefighter and we can't get you out of that overdose right away. We have to do other interventions, maybe put a tube down your throat to keep you breathing until we get you to the hospital.
Right.
And that's a lot more complicated and a lot scarier, because sometimes the hospital doesn't have much that they can do either besides help you breathe.
Yeah. Now, you had mentioned the first segment a little bit about the fentanyl test strips. Can you tell my viewers what fentanyl test strips are?
Yeah, so a fentanyl test strip, it looks a lot like a home pregnancy test, and you can take some of the substance you have and mix it with a little bit of water and put it on this test strip and see if there's fentanyl present in what you're buying, what product you have. And so at least it can give you an idea if the product you're getting is actually safe. And so it's a tool that's out there. I don't know how often it's used, but I think any tool that's out there that can help keep somebody alive is a good tool.
Yeah. You know, you talked earlier about 1,000 runs, and that's just in Providence. I can just imagine statewide. I don't know if you have those numbers.
No, I don't. I just track what we do, you know, and it's yeah, that's why we try to get out there in so many different ways, whether it's the Narcan Leave Behind kits on all my apparatus, or the bikes downtown, or the mental health unit that we have. We really try to just find as many ways possible to keep anybody in Providence safe. And give them the opportunity to come to Safe Station. And as we talk, the substances are changing. So don't think you have to ring my doorbell because you're using an opioid. You don't. If it's a cocaine problem or a crystal meth problem or anything else at all, alcohol problem, ring the doorbell. We'll connect you with somebody that's going to help you.
Yeah. What about, in your estimation, do you have like a monthly meeting with your group, or is it every shift you get a report of what transpired during that shift to keep the data fresh?
So we use an electronic patient reporting system, and that's where we gather our data, much as the state gathers it from the other groups. Almost the whole state's on the same reporting system, so I imagine they're grabbing it from the other companies. But you know, my people that work in the EMS division or on the fire apparatus in Providence will let me know when they come across stuff that's different. One of my rescue officers just sent me a message that there was a new inhalant that's out there that people are using. They're inhaling this substance that's marketed as a cleaning solution. It was very easy for me to find it on the internet, literally under 10 seconds. And it puts them into a respiratory type of failure, and there's nothing we have that will reverse it. So, you know, that's the communication that I get from my crews, is what they're seeing on the street and how to keep themselves, our group, safe, and then eventually how to try to keep the community as safe as possible.
So, you know, there's a lot of people watching this show. Is it helpful to know CPR along with, using the Narcan?
Oh yeah, I mean it's helpful to know CPR anyway.
Right.
We probably have on average about 215 cardiac arrest calls in Providence a year, if not more. And that's a lot. That's a lot of people going into cardiac arrest. So if at any point in time you can learn CPR, you never know. Much like carrying Narcan, you never know when you're going to be able to use it. You know, we've been doing trainings at schools recently. Schools are developing teams to help with cardiac arrest, and so we're trying to help out with that as much as possible. But yeah, know your CPR, know how to use Narcan. If you want trainings, I know Michelle McKenzie and Pony do great trainings for Narcan. I'm willing to do trainings at any point in time. Anybody has any questions, I'm always out there. So you can look me up on the Providence Fire Department website and reach me through email. Most of the state has my cell phone number, so bump into somebody and ask. They'll give it to you. But I'm more than happy to help out in any way.
You know, at one point, Chief, I thought you were on my payroll. I kept bumping into you so much.
I know.
I want to ask this question for my viewers, and you know, I get a lot of questions all the time. Teenagers, 13, 14, are you seeing a lot of that? Or what areas are you seeing a lot? 20 to 30, 30 to 40, 40 to 50 teenagers.
Teenagers we're not seeing a ton of. We are getting some, though, that, I mean, listen, if we have 20 teenagers a year, that's
too many.
Yes, way too many.
Yeah.
And so, again, I think that the days, and I hate to date you and I and say how old we are, but way back when there wasn't fentanyl and everything, people were more experimental, I think, and they could maybe get away with it. Nowadays, people think that they're trying something. You know, your friend says, hey, look, I've got this pill. They look at it, it looks legitimate because the people pressing it make it look exactly like what you would get through a prescription, and then we have dead people. And it's really not good. So it's scary. You know, you mentioned I have 3 daughters and worry every day, you know.
We're going to take a quick break. You're watching Recovery TV, and I'm your host, Sean Tassoni. We'll be right back after these messages.
Now, back to Recovery TV with your host, John J. Tassoni Jr. Recovery TV is made possible by our supporting sponsors and our title sponsor, AdCare. Now, here's John and today's guest.
Welcome back to Recovery TV, and I'm your host, Sean Tassoni. We have the Chief, EMS Chief, Zach Kenyon, in the house. Safe Stations. Zach, I want to thank you for coming on today, and thank you for the work that you do. Thank you to the mayor for letting you come on. Thank you for all the work and your men and women of the Providence Fire Department, because that number shocked me, 1,000. 1,000. And, you know, the work that we all keep doing, hopefully someday, I say this all the time, they knock on the door and say, John, we don't need the show no more. But, I don't think that's going to happen for a long period of time, but thank you for what you do. And I know you have a website that you like people to visit if they could.
Yep, it's PVD Safe Stations with an S at the end.com, or just come to any fire station and ring the doorbell. I'm at the headquarters, the Public Safety Complex. You're more than welcome to come by and ask for me at any time. I'm available anywhere, and you'll see me out in the community a lot. I know you said you're going to put me on your payroll.
Yeah, I bump into you all the time.
But I'm out there, and the big message, again, is, you know, we have a lot of Narcan available. Substances are changing. Narcan's not always going to work, but Safe Stations is going to be here, and we're here to help you. So just get to us one way or another, and we'll get you in.
Chief, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it. Next week, my guest is Wood River Health. Remember one thing, if you see something, say something. Have a great week. We'll see you next week.